Hello, everybody. Hello. Well, I'm truly grateful to be here today at the Change Now Summit. This is actually an important platform to promote the ideal of equality, diversity, and inclusion. I'm thankful to Nora and our team, and I'm encouraged. You might tell that I'm a little nervous, but I'm often quite nervous because I always speak about some real stuff. Now, my name is Jide Macaulay, and for those who don't know me, I'm not Jedi, and I'm not Jide. And if you forget my name this afternoon, just remember the happy, holy homosexual. But seriously speaking, people also call me Mama Jide because of some of my activism that's drawn together, people of faith and supporting their sexuality. I believe I have the mother spirit that's carried many along. Now, I was born in London, but I was raised in Lagos, Nigeria. My parents were students in England in the 1960s. My mother is late, but my father is still alive. I was raised in a very conservative Christian home, and the environment where sexuality was never part of our conversation, let alone homosexuality. Now, of course, growing up, my African parents have the idea what their children are going to be. So I was going to be the lawyer in the family. I did study law, but I think I remember giving my certificate to my father to say, well, I want to go ahead and study theology, which is what I wanted to do. Now, of course, in preparing for today, I was thinking also about intersectionality. And I thought maybe my middle name should have been intersectionality because I stand before you as a black African, a Nigerian, a British man, someone who's openly gay. I'm also a priest, and I'm also living with HIV for the past 20 years. I don't know if that's mind-blowing, but people might say, wow, this is what you should never be. And of course, I have experienced so much with all of this. I've experienced racism, xenophobia. In Nigeria, they believe that Africans cannot be gay. And a Christian also cannot be gay. And of course, there has been a lot of conversations that said that, HIV is a punishment for homosexuality. But I would say also my journey has not been easy. But I come with humility, respect, and courage. You've heard it all. But we can also begin to unpack those messages. Coming out as gay for me was in 1994. I didn't know much about my own sexuality at the time. But that was a change now moment for me. So I have been committed to making changes ever since. So 17 years ago, I started an organization called House of Rainbow on the backdrop of political and religious homophobia in my native country, Nigeria. It was intended to create safe spaces for reconciling faith and sexuality. Within months after we started, what was dubbed as the gay church, but we believe that we became the human rights church, depending, of course, on who you're talking to and who you ask. Most Nigerians are intolerant of homosexuality and will use religion to promote and justify their position. I am mindful of the incredible allies in Nigeria, and some might be even in this session today. Now, of course, House of Rainbow started in 2006, and we focus on helping people build their relationship, reconciling their faith and their sexuality, because, when I found out that, I found out that the Bible does not condemn homosexuality. Some of you might still have that position. But it's important for me to share that good news with others. And that was why I left the comfort of England and returned to Nigeria in 2006. But we also have our work around in many other countries, up to about 22 countries where House of Rainbow is impacting and saving lives. Of course, we provide a lot of other services, including sexual health, counseling, pastoral care, and of course, we also support survivors of human trafficking and labor exploitation. The list is actually endless. But of course, my organization is also a place where we say to people that GAY means God accepts you. God adores you, and God admires you. It is so important to affirm people and let them know that they are worth everything. Now, of course, with privileges comes responsibilities. As someone who is both Nigerian and British, black, gay, a Christian living with HIV, it is a privilege to speak out on many of the issues, of injustice that I see to others and also to myself. It is important for me to speak boldly and confidently about the injustices around sexual minorities around the world. For example, many countries in the global south still rule with a legacy of colonialism. I'm sure we've had it all over the conference in these past few days. Climate change has historically been blamed on homosexuality, trust me. When there's an earthquake, it's the gays. When there is a storm, it's the gays. You've had it all. When there is a crash somewhere, they always blame the gay community. I've never known any group of people so powerful, but you might agree with me that the law that infringes on our human rights of any marginalized group affects the society at large. Now, my organization has been using technology for as far as we know, but we continue to use it. We use it to reach people because there are places around the world where it is still against the law to be gay. But thank God for technology. You can put a headset on and join our program every week and listen to encouraging messages. For example, we use Clubhouse for our God Adores You moment. So if you're on Clubhouse, you can join us every Sunday. We're reaching people across many places. Now, politics and sexuality is also very important. Nigeria is a former Commonwealth nation and still have laws today that were, from the imperial British colonial era. In 2006, I started House of Rainbow in Nigeria, and I remember a few months after we started, I was in front of the Nigerian Parliament, in a public debate, appealing to the Nigerian government and lawmakers not to pass the anti-gay bill to law. Now, unfortunately, the bill became law in 2014. But what was problematic about it all is that there were many politicians who were supporting the bill, just like you can hear today in Ghana, and also in Uganda, in Namibia, and many other countries today. But what was so sad about this law is that my dad was also one of the religious leaders who was supporting the government in passing the bill. It was heartbreaking for me. But of course, that is politics as well. There was an article in Wall Street Journal early 2007 that says, anti-gay bill divides family. And of course, described my father as Reverend Macaulay Sr. and myself as Reverend Macaulay Jr., who were actually not in agreement with the law. Faith and sexuality is also a key part of my message today. Decolonization of religion is very, very important. As a Christian and a chaplain and a priest living with HIV, I recognize many people like myself who struggle with reconciling their faith and their sexuality. It is important to understand the need of querying the Bible through the experiences of those marginalized. Religion has been used to demonize the LGBT community, but we are the composers of your music in church. We are the directors of the music in church. We are the directors of the mass choir. We are the bishops and the priests, and we all make things happen in the church. But let me talk about health and sexuality. 1 in 4 LGBT person is more likely to develop mental health. LGBT people living with HIV are faced with multiple challenges of discrimination in the society, in their family circles, in their faith circles, in the healthcare system, in the prison, in employment, and so on. First, we are called an abomination for being same-gender loving. But then HIV is a virus that is manageable. Its transmission can be prevented. And for those on effective medication, U equals U is the new message. It means undetectable equals untransmittable. HIV care has come a long way, and it still have a long way to go. So it's time that we break the stigma, the shame, the denial, and the discrimination. To date, HIV has claimed lives. 36.3 million individuals live with HIV. Approximately 37.7 million people worldwide are living with AIDS. But the medical advancement is so important and so significant, and it has improved the lives of people that are found with this condition. So between 2010 and 2020, there's been a 43% decline in HIV rates. But unfortunately, in Africa, there is still a great concern in the growing rate of HIV pandemic. Now, why did I start House of Rainbow in 2006? I did so because I was concerned about homophobia and misinformation. I did so because there's so much bad theology and misinterpretation of the scriptures. The political abuse and harassment was fierce. The need for decriminalization and decolonization was so important. And last but not the least, reconciling faith, spirituality, religion, and sexuality was so important. But what can we do? What can we do to make a difference? What can we do to tackle the problems that sexual minorities are facing around the world? I think we should ask our governments everywhere we are to raise the matter in our parliament or in our Senate. Decriminalization is very key. There are still countries around the world that still criminalize, and some of them with the death penalty. Join a protest or a demo for human rights. Be at the forefront. Solidarity and allyship is also very important. Make your environment truly inclusive, including your workplace. So if there are LGBT people in your workplace, speak out for them. Raise your concerns and make it known. Investment is very important. Grants and funding towards education and employment, and also projects as well. And of course, you can find me and House of Rainbow on LinkedIn and all social media platforms. My friends, as I conclude this afternoon, I speak for myself and for millions like myself around the world. I am one voice for the voiceless and a face for the faceless impossibility. Change now begins with you and also with me. So over the decades, it's clear that freedom comes at a cost. For any marginalized community, of which I'm one, it's no different for the LGBT community. If we strive to make a difference, regardless of the environment or institutions that hold us in captivity, then we must consider the following. First, we need to be organized, because those who are homophobic and drive the evangelical agenda against the LGBT community are seriously organized. They are seriously organized. They're funding homophobia around the world. We need to be organized, in fact, super organized. We need to be well-funded in order to counter and defeat their derogatory ideals. We as a people must also be organized. There must be a high level of cooperation and unity within the LGBT community and with our allies as well. The second thing is that we need to have a clear vision to occupy spaces of authority. There are legislators who make laws and have no idea of the pain that it causes the LGBT community. We are often oppressed with no opportunity to make a difference. It is time to occupy strategic posts and positions and make a difference politically, economically, and even in religious spaces. Ownership. We need to take ownership as well of the future. with responsibilities and be in control. By taking ownership, I mean provide security for the future generations of LGBT people and their families as well. It's time to create safe spaces as well for growth and wellness of our people, and also to overtake those who obstruct us, those who unjustly despise and discriminate against us. We overtake by providing culturally appropriate and traditionally sensitive outcomes. There is time that we must show our true colors and be all of who God, I believe, has created us to be. And the truth is, without compromising the integrity of our course. We overtake with excellence, gratitude, and opulence. Change now. Thank you.